Hi, how are you? I hope you're doing great. I am so happy you're here. I'm gonna talk a little bit. When I say a little bit, I mean a little bit too much about my favorite books. I don't usually talk a lot, but if you want me to talk, just talk about books and I won't shut my mouth. Anyways, some of my favorite books, I read them physically, and some of them I read them on my iPad. But here are the ones that I have them physically right now, so I'm gonna start with those. One, I love this. I love this book. It's Little Women. Little Women. I love Little Women. I read this like 2 years ago, I think. Such a wonderful book. Like, I literally wrote an essay about Little Women. I feel like they did a wonderful job with the movie. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna read the book, and I read it. Amazing, amazing. I read this book in fall. I totally recommend this book if you want to have like a cozy afternoon with like a coffee or a tea. This totally, it's amazing. It's amazing. If you don't know Little Women, you probably live under a rock. First of all, I'm sorry. But if you don't know Little Women, or who Little Women is, or who Little Women are, Little Women, it's the story about four sisters and this friend of them called Lori. I love Lori. It talks basically about their life and how they grew up together and how they challenged the difficulties of girlhood when it was the war, I think. It's amazing. Also, I love Lori. I love Lori. I promised myself to read this book every single fall for the rest of my life, and I will do it because this book is amazing. Little Women. Little Women, ladies and ladies. Little Women. This is the picture of Dorian Gray. What can I say about this book? I literally read this book in like an afternoon. Again, I read this one in fall. Such a fall vibe. Read it if you haven't, please. I love classics. Anything Penguin classic, I will read. I will devour. I will. What can I say about the picture of Dorian Gray? This book is about this young man that has this extreme beauty, and about this painter that paints him, and that's where the name comes from. It's just, I love books where the main character slowly but surely deteriorates into madness. Sue me. But this is one of those books where like Dorian has this weird interaction with the painting as he grows up, and just goes slowly into madness and goes insane. I was going to spoil something, but I don't care. He ends up killing the painter, and it's like, it's so amazing. I would totally read this every single fall too. It's such a good book. It's short. Number 3. I know. You're about to be like, what? Your favorite book is A Little Life? Should I call the police? Are you mentally ill? Like, are you a psychopath? Like, what? No. I have many reasons to have A Little Life as my favorite book. First of all, I know that it's very traumatic. I know that there's a lot of things about this book that might not make it as likable as other books. But for me, the most important thing about a book is when the book makes you feel something. Because how can that book transform just words into like a feeling, into like something else? It's more profound than just words. It becomes something real. It becomes a feeling. I love when books go beyond just words, that go beyond just paper, and it becomes more like intimate. And I felt like this story in particular, it was like that. As I was reading it, I felt like I was just like in this circle of intimacy where I was learning about so many things, And as you read through this book, it's like you're like, what is going on? I don't understand. But at the same time, like, they're giving you all the information. This book is wonderful. It's amazingly written. This story, the characters, so profound, as I have already said. A Little Life is about four friends, and one of them is Jude, that I would say is like the main character, like, ish. One thing about this book is that it really has a lot of like good quotes that in a way you kind of get to relate to at least one of the characters in like the smallest way. And it's full of emotion, full of sentiment, full of the stories, and the, I don't know, you get to just submerge into every single character in like a specific way. You get to understand how that friendship of like the four friends actually works. If someone said like, Ellie, should I read A Little Life, I would say like, read it with, I don't know, read it with caution. I would say, I don't know, just check like the warnings, but it is such a masterpiece. This is A Little Life, and a few of the reasons why I feel like this book belongs to my favorite books list. And yeah, number 4, I'm sorry, Crime and Punishment. I know you're gonna be like, shut up, you, Ellie, you do not like that. You do not like that. I do like it. Masterpiece, amazing. What? Like, those are my like reactions whenever someone talks about this book. Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. This was actually the first book from Russian literature that I read, and to start with Fyodor Dostoevsky, it was like, this girl knows what she's doing, huh? I didn't. I have heard that people take years to read Crime and Punishment. I read it in like 4 months, which I liked it, okay? This book has so many things to unravel, to like discover, it puts you, literally sits you on a chair to think. It's like, what's going on? What's happening? Are you good? Of course not, because the character of this book is like insanely mentally ill. He's crazy. This is one of those books where the character just slowly, page by page, goes insane and more insane and touches hell and keeps going down. And I just love those books. I don't know why, but something about how the story is written, something about how your perspective changes a lot throughout the book. It's like the way it's written is like it plays with your head, and it plays with what you think about each character. This is about Rascal. I call him Rascal because his full name, well, not full name, but his name is Raskolnikov. Raskolnikov. I don't know, I'm so sorry. So I just call him Rascal, okay? I just call him Rascal. This is about Rascal. He's a student and has a lot of problems with his life, and ends up killing his landlady. And this is about how he reacts, how he did it, how the things that happen after that. It says in here that he embarks on a dangerous game of a cat and a mouse with a police investigator. It's about how he kills the lady, what he does afterwards, and how he goes insane. Yeah. I feel like everyone should read Crime and Punishment. It is a great way it's a great way to just think about the good and the bad, about what's right and what's wrong. But yeah, Crime and Punishment. Next, I have Almond. When I tell you that I didn't know what was going on at first, I was like, why is this? For starters, Almond is about this kid who has this disability that cannot really feel any feelings. So he lives his life like nothing. He doesn't feel anger. He doesn't feel sadness, happiness, anything. It's in this mutual state of emotion. And I didn't understand this at first. So at the beginning of the book, his mother gets killed, and this boy has no reaction whatsoever. And I was like, what's going on with this kid? Like, he just watched the whole scene. What's going on? And it basically, this book talks about his life and how he deals with this stuff, how he grew up after this thing that happened to his mother, and he didn't understood. He could, because he couldn't feel anything. He wasn't particularly like moved about what happened. And he narrates the story about how he goes to school and hang out with friends, and it talks about how he makes relationships and how he relates to them in like very different ways, and how his friends also relate to him very differently because of his condition. It's like a really, really, really good book to read. It's short, and I don't know, again, it really puts you to think. The book itself felt fresh. It felt like the reading was easy, and I don't know, to see the whole life of this kid from his eyes and how he just doesn't feel anything. Next, I have The Hunger Games. I don't know, between so much literature and between so much heavy books and things that make you reflect, between that, it's The Hunger Games, okay? I really love those kind of movies like The Maze Runner, Divergent, The Hunger Games. I love the Shadow Me series. Those books are one of my favorite series of books ever. The Shadow Me series. I love those kind of dystopian books, and well, I love the movie, so I was like, oh, it's time to read the book. I kid you not, I read the 3-4 books. I don't know how many there are, but I read them all in like a week. I could not put those books down. Like, I literally would go to bed every night at 3 a.m. reading and reading and reading because they were so good. I really don't want to explain this book series, because if I do, this whole video is gonna be an hour, 2 hours and a half. So no. But anyways, now you know that I love dystopian books, and The Hunger Games goes in my favorite books list. So yeah. Next book is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I would lie to you if I tell you that I didn't cry with this book. And I cried in the bus. I was in the bus and I was reading the end, and I kid you not, a little tear shed down my cheek, and I was like, this is awesome. This book is awesome. As I said, I love books that the character just like switches and goes here and goes down and I don't know if you can understand what I mean, but I love those books. I also love books that make me sad. That sounds a little bit masochistic, isn't it? Well, no, but I just love those. I love classics. I love dystopian books. I love books that have like a deep story behind. I love like meaningful. I just love meaningful stories, you know? And I love these books where the character just I don't know if you understand, but I love those. And The Perks of Being a Wallflower, it's one of those sad books that have like a very impactful story behind. This book is about this boy named Charlie, and the whole book it's narrated from his perspective. It's about Charlie's life and how he meets new friends and how he gets to interact with different things and different situations that made him grow up as a boy and made him grow up as a person in general. And at the end of the book, we get to discover a little bit more about Charlie and about why he is the way he is. But overall, this book it's such a pretty story. I love Charlie, like I love him. And it's so strange because like, the whole book, as I said, it's from Charlie's perspective, but it's like if a bunch of letters were put together into a book, and it's like Charlie's story, or like Charlie's life. And it's so weird because at the end it's like Charlie says like, "Oh, I know you don't care. I know you don't know me, but this was my life, and I hope you received my letters like, and you like them." Or it was weird, and it's like if you feel as like again you feel like you're in this intimate circle. You're knowing this deep things about Charlie itself, and he just kind of like gives it to you throughout letters, and I don't know, it makes me feel like a void on my chest. It's like I couldn't do anything. It's like I was just there reading his letters, reading what he went through, and I couldn't do anything. It puts you really into the story of Charlie. It really puts you to think who Charlie really is, and why Charlie is the way he is. And the end is just very heartbreaking. And yeah, those are my favorite books. I am really happy. I am really glad that I got to be here talking about books with you. And I just really hope that you got invested at least in one of them, and I hope that you get to read one of them, or that I don't know, I'm not great at explaining things. I'm so sorry, but I love books. This is the thing that I like. I like to talk about books. Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm so glad. Read, okay, read. Reading is amazing. It's the greatest hobby you could have. And yeah, that's it. I really wish you a happy day. And yeah, thanks for watching so much. And yeah, bye.